Welcome back to the post-game lobby. I'm still Horizon. That is still Sofchan, and we are joined by the one and the only OU support Bellow. Bellow, how are you feeling, man? How does it feel to know that the standings have been tied up and you have the head-to-head over LIU in a potential playoffs scenario?
Um, I think it's good. I think this fall is like a practice run for the team. I'm the only returning player for this team, and we're going through like a lot of cycles for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not really too concerned with like what the how we end up this fall. We're more concerned like are we getting like a linear form of progression each week.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's really lovely. And considering that you, as you mentioned, that you are the one returning player, how did it feel this time in the fall to and this day, of course, in the broadcast, the game we casted of you guys? How did it feel to be working with these new players? How is the dynamic? Because it felt like you guys were communicating super well.
Yeah, it feels especially for me, it feels weird because like especially the last couple years being on different teams, I've always been it's either everybody's like forming a new team or I've always been kind of like the last one joining. Like last semester, everybody I mean last year everybody on OU was had been together for like a year and a half besides me. So it felt like easy just being like the new player and then like putting my input. But now since I'm the captain and I'm like in a leadership position, there's like a lot more expected of me, and it's like a nice like opportunity for growth for myself, and it feels good to like try to take that step up and become like a leadership position.
Yeah. So I guess I would follow on that. So you talked about taking a leadership position within this team. So you mentioned that you're the captain. One of the things I want to ask you about this Blitzcrank pick, obviously we saw a pretty good Lulu game, or sorry, not Lulu game, Nami game in the first one where he had that pretty stereotypical Lulu Nami matchup where you're able to kind of easily win the 1v1 or the 2v2s that. But then the Blitzcrank game, I think, was a kind of a departure to maybe what we might have expected in the second game. So you talked about shot calling. What was what were the comms and what was the decision making process in going for the Blitzcrank in that second game?
So the main thing for Blitzcrank here was that it's really good into every one of the. Well, for one thing, we thought that um, that my R would cancel Belveth's like damage reduction thing. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was a channel, but then we found
Mm-mm.
out in game that it actually doesn't cancel it. So that was one of the main things was we thought it would cancel it, and then plus Blitzcrank is also just really good into every one of their champions.
Mm-hmm.
The second factor was that we have a really aggressive mid laner, Silas, and me picking Blitzcrank into Victor is like um, very hard for Victor to play the game. And then bot lane, we can win. It's more just like if their bot lane makes like a ton of mistakes, then we can kill a lot. But they were playing in wave, like first three levels, which made it hard to like look for options. So I just accepted like, okay, they're not being greedy, so I'll just play for our strong suits, which was mainly mid,
Mm-hmm.
for at least my job. The
Yeah.
comms were we basically established like in game like who we're playing for, what our like primary and secondary opportunity of goals are, and so that's where we basically topped out. Like first, I'll see if I can kill their bot lane, and then if they're not playing or if they are playing in wave, then I'll just ditch lane and then play for mid lane.
Yeah, and that worked out so well. We when we were casting, it was every time we blinked, you were there, and it was such a nightmare for Victor. But I wanted to ask you about the the performance in general of your team, like the strategy. You guys seemed pretty aggressive. Was it something that you noticed about the enemy team? Like before, have you scouted them? How were the plays, the games you have played against them in the past, and if that influenced the way you decided to be aggressive on him?
I don't remember if we have played against them before. We don't do an insane amount of scouting because like I said earlier, we our largest concern is how we're playing right now, and so that's pretty much where all our thought process is. Because we don't really take we after draft is done, then we'll think about like what they want to do, and then we'll calm stuff in game. But we don't think about how a team is going to play, and then try to like draft comps around that yet. That would probably be for like spring season,
Mhm.
when we're like try harding and we're really trying to like win.
Gotcha. Well, Bello, thank you so much for the interview. We really, really appreciate the time you took out to answer our questions. And for ladies and gentlemen, that is actually going to do it for us here on the broadcast. So on behalf of everybody here at ESPORTSU, we want to thank you all so much for tuning in for tonight's game between Oakland University and Long Island University. So until next time, until we and Sofa hopefully see you guys again, buy wards, drink potions, don't leave base without a buddy, and more importantly, be good to each other. On behalf of everyone else here in the broadcast crew, thank you and good night.